Greetings, Calico fans. This is H.H. German from Saban Comics, and I'm coming to you from the greatest city in the world, New York City. And I'm excited to talk to you about this topic today. And before I get into that, let me take a swig from the old Calico mug. Always good. All right, so let's talk about Mr. July, Eric July. I was at San Diego Comic-Con, and I purchased my issue of Isom #1 from none other than Gabe El-Taib. He's the colorist on the series, and let me tell you, folks, he's a large man. All right, he's a large guy. I got to meet him in person, and of course, he didn't intimidate me. I'm a former prize fighter from the Bronx. But no, we did have a good time in San Diego Comic-Con, and I did purchase, as I just mentioned, the Isom #1 comic book by Eric July, YoungRippa, and this is my video, my sentiments on having read, because I did complete the reading of issue 1 of Isom, the series there by Eric July, and Gabe's the colorist on the thing. He did an excellent job on it. So I guess aesthetically, let's start there. I think the book looks very polished, very professional. They did a great job on the book, the Rippaverse team there. They did a very good job. I mean, listen, for a first comic book, I give them a solid A on this. This is your first comic book, and it looks like this, man. And I realize that they had quite a bit of finances at their disposal to do this, but you know, there are other entities that are in the same situation that don't come close to this. So presentation-wise, again, solid A. They did a really good job, and again, this is why the decision to put solid professionals working on the book is a great one. Okay, a lot of times we like to, well, a lot of times some people, you know, you see this, they're starting a new venture and they're sort of half-stepping, as we used to say in the streets in the Bronx. Ain't no half-stepping, okay? Ain't no half-stepping in this book, that's for sure. They say for sure now. I was very impressed with the package. It was you know, it wasn't cheap, that's for sure. I think it cost me, well, I don't remember. I think it was somewhere in the area of, you know, 30, 40 bucks around there, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know exactly what it was, but as part of my support of creators, this is what I do. We were very fortunate at San Diego Comic-Con. We were one of the, I think we were the only, actually. I think we were the only small press publisher that sold out. And we were shopping by, you know, Sunday morning. So I actually bought this issue of, you know, of Isom, just shopping around, because I ran into Gabe El-Taib there, and he was selling the book. And, you know, we talked, you know, for quite a bit there. He happens to be I learned he happens to be a fan of mixed martial arts, and of course, those of you who know, I'm a former professional pro MMA fighter. I fought in tournaments back in the day, back in the 90s, and I got to, you know, fight alongside people, you know, like the Gracies, and you know, I guess Vitor Belfort was also part of the promotions as well. These are, you know, in some cases, Hall of Famers in UFC. So again, I was able to learn that El-Taib, you know, Gabe El-Taib was a fan of, you know, the fighting. So we got to chat for a little while there about that, and of course the comics. Anyway, the bottom line is we're in a very fortunate situation in that for the most part, when we do these shows, we're selling out, and we have the ability to support other creators, and we support all different types of creators. We don't really fall into a, you know, spectrum or, you know, genre or political thing. We just If you're putting out comics that are good, we'll support you. And that's all we care about. We care about good comics, and in our case, we fight against animal abuse with our comics. So we love animals and we love comics. So listen, as long as you love animals and you love comics, you're fine by us. We have readers that are of all backgrounds and denominations, and we do not discriminate here at Sigma Comics. We love you if you love comics and you love animals. It's really that simple. So we did support this book. And frankly, and this goes into the next area, which is deployment and distribution. I think there, he did an excellent job. I think there it's an A+ because he's frankly teaching, he meaning July, Eric July is teaching a lot of us in comics. I don't care if you're a legend that's been doing comics for the past 40 years, you've got something to learn from this dude, Mr. July. He's laying the groundwork here, and it's not just him. It's a bunch of people who are taking the reins in comics and going out on their own and striking it, and in his case, you could say striking it rich. I wouldn't say that. I would say he's definitely striking a chord with lots of us who are trying to, make a name for ourselves in the industry by putting out quality books. And again, for that, he gets, in my opinion, a solid A+, because he's giving you the blueprint, folks. He's laid out the groundwork. This guy's been putting out videos for years. If I'm not mistaken, he's been at this for about 10 years or so. Again, think what you think about his background, his politics, the views, his stances. I don't care about any of that. I'm not involved in those things. What I'm involved in is comics. And anything pertaining to comics, whether you're left, right, up, down, white, black, green, yellow, I don't care. None of that, all that's noise. It's no noise to me. What's important to me is the comics and the fight against animal abuse. In terms of the comics, well, that's our medium. That's how we're deploying the fight against animal abuse. That's why we're unique in the market space, right? So with this tutelage that Eric July is giving all of us comic book creators, okay, that again gives us the framework, the blueprint to do this. And that's why I'm creating this video. I don't have time to be doing these videos, but I'm doing them anyway because guess what? That's one of the essential pillars of Eric July's success. Okay, he's created an audience around issues that are, again, they're valid and factual that he's addressing with his commentary. Okay, he does it in a very colorful way, and you may agree with him or disagree with him, but the fact is he's taking topics and he's addressing them. You might call it substantively or not, or passionately, or sensationally, etc. Because I think there's some truth to that as well. But at least there's something to emulate, to follow, to get to that success that he's achieving. So instead of, for those of you who are detractors of Mr. July, I would say don't knock the guy. Try what he's doing, because it's clearly working for him. It's not just him, it's working for other people. There are other people who are doing a similar type of thing. They're creating an audience around topics that are striking a chord. And that's why I think he's done an excellent job here. Again, I give him an A+ in terms of deployment strategy and distribution. He might have been planning this thing for years, and boy, did he successfully deploy it. Kudos for you, A+, Mr. July. All right, so let's get into the content. How's the actual stuff? How's the story? Well, I think it was good. It was entertaining. I certainly subscribe to the. He's another controversial character here, Mike Barron. He's got this the tenets of what he considers to be a successful, comic book strategy, and it's for number one, entertain. Be different, right? And the other one is, what's the other one? Don't be boring, right? Don't be boring, entertain, don't be boring, and be unique, right? You want to make these pages, you want to keep these pages turning, you got to entertain. You have to have an entertaining thing. And then the last one there is be unique. Something different. You know, Apple had this great ad back in the 90s when Steve Jobs came back. There's another one who did just a brilliant job of marketing. You know, you want to talk about distribution. Apple, back in the early 90s, had the Mac brand, okay? But it was all over the place. This thing had the 9600 series, the 8600 Macintosh series, the 7600, and it went the 56, all these different, they had like, I'm not even kidding, I think they had like 6 or 7 different computers that were just, one was like a little bit less powerful than the other one, and they were extremely expensive, and it was a disaster, you know. And then if that wasn't bad, they were licensing out. For those of you who are on the younger end, guys in your 30s and younger, in the 90s, the early 90s, Marvel not only had a bunch of computer lines, okay, the series, they had other computers that were competing with their own computers. Okay, they were cannibalizing their business. So here they are with a unique product. Okay, you talk about one of Barron's tenets there, be unique. Okay, be unique. They're licensing out their products. It was a complete disaster. I think Power Computing was one of these brands. I don't think it was a company or the brand that was selling a Mac-based product. Man, that was so bad. I think, what was another one? I think there was a scanner that was doing it too. Something, a short name with a U, was doing UMax or something, I don't know. Just horrible, disastrous business approach. Jobs comes in. Steve Jobs comes in the early 90s. I think it was like 90, no, it was midnight. He comes in the mid-90s. He came in around 95, 96, around there. He comes in with this concept called the iMac. Okay, make an entry level, do 3 products, okay? Do the iMac, is the entry level, affordable, sub $1,000 product. Do the Power Mac, which is your desktop, okay, tower system, which is super powerful. It's got the big, you know, machinery behind it. And the PowerBook, the portable mobile thing. Okay, powerful mobile computer. That's it. They got rid of everything. The iMac, the Power Mac, and the MacBook. Wonderful branded names. Notice that. The iMac, the Power Mac, and the MacBook. Okay, that's it. Got rid of everything else. The iMac was the lower end model. The Power Mac was the, you know, $2,000-$3,000, whatever it was. It was the capable one, and brought the price down, because remember, these things were, these prices, these comic books, these computers were $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. The ones before, that were before, these 9600s, and they were very expensive. We're talking about $5,000 and up for these machines. Well, the most expensive one that Jobs put out was around $2,000-$3,000 for the Power Mac. He halved the price of and made it more powerful on top of that. Okay, and then the MacBook, possibly the most I think it was the most powerful laptop of its time, and I think that was only a couple $1,000 or around that range, or a little less than that maybe. Of course, the prices came down. The bottom line is, they were unique, and guess what? Jobs came in with an ad campaign. They hired Chiat. Chiat is a big ad agency, and they came up with the think different, and that's what this book is doing from a content perspective. Okay, from a content perspective, the writer here, Mr. July, is taking guy who's average guy who's just trying to get put one step in front of the other, nothing really special, but now he's trying to do a favor for a family, and he gets involved into a deep web of danger, and it happens pretty quickly, and that's why I did rate it a good, because it's doing that. Now, it's a little slower for my taste because of the strategy and how he's deploying the story. Okay, he's doing this sort of as a series-based, comic book sort of graphic novel thing, because they are bigger books. They're not 24-page books. These books are probably, I don't remember exactly, but I think they're over 48 pages. Certainly in that area. But listen, it's a quality book. It's got a decent story. Is it a great, a revolutionary story? No, but it's a solid book, and it's a page turner, which for me is the most important thing. It kept me turning those pages. Don't be boring, So, I think that I haven't seen a book like this in a while. Again, the book being about a guy who's just sort of minding his own business and stumbling into something that creates danger immediately. And here's the thing about the danger, he does have, that's the thing about him, he does have a special, quality about him. I don't want to give too much away, but there's that additional layer of the fact that he does have this super quality to him. So, and he's confronted by sort of street element danger, and also the super quality element danger there. So again, solid first book. So let's recap. Gave it the packaging presentation an A plus certainly for the distribution, and let's give it a, B is good. So let's give it a B. I give it a B in terms of the story. I consider myself a hard grader. By the way, I've never given any of my comics an A plus, just so you know. I'm a pretty hard grader, so I like to keep everyone honest in myself, and I think that's why I think I'm doing a decent job with my series, because I think that we're always learning. Certainly I am, and there's always room for improvement. And certainly I think there's room for improvement in Isom #1. I do understand that Isom #2 is out, and I look forward to checking that out as well. And listen, let's all support. Again, I don't care what your politics are. Let's support this guy. He's helping us, the creators, out in terms of showing us how to do these comics successfully. So I don't care. I'd love to see that. People who disagree with him buying his comics, not to poke fun, but to actually try to support somebody who's trying to show you how to be successful in this. What a great thing that would be. Imagine that. Let's try to get to something approaching that. I don't know. I'm not going to go into the cultural political thing, but my understanding is that Mr. July comes from the political realm, and I think he focuses a lot on that. I don't come from that political realm. I don't do politics. I don't do none of these things. I focus on comics and stories. In our case, we have a mission behind ours, which is the fight against animal abuse. So I encourage you as well to support ours, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to do a very good thing with our comic book series. But again, getting back to Mr. July and his creation, he's doing a good thing. He's bringing attention to comics, which is very, very well much needed. Listen, comics aren't spoken about as much anymore, and guess what? We have Mr. July doing this book, this series here, and people are talking comics again, and they're buying them in the thousands. Okay, I don't know if some of you are aware, but Eric July put out issue 1 of Isom, and that book did on crowdfunding. Pretty sure it did over $4 million. Okay, for his first comic book. Okay, so yes, he's showing us how to do this successfully. And my understanding is issue number 2 of I don't know if it's still being crowdfunded or if it's out, but it's also in the millions as well. So again, hats off to Mr. July. You're doing a very good job in putting together this series. Keep improving. Keep this is my feedback to you, and I think we don't do anyone justice if you just put out these videos and then don't give the man some advice, especially if he's not putting out a great mind-blowing product. He's putting out, in my opinion, a good product. So here's some advice, and this is by definition meaning that there's room for improvement. So here's my advice to you, Mr. July, if you ever get to see this video. You can get a little more technical, be a little more descriptive. I know that that's what the art is for. Don't be shy with that, because part of the storytelling process is to aid the reader in as many ways you possibly can. One of the, I'm sure you're, based on what the book I just read from you there, I'm sure you're also a big Punisher fan, at least back from the 80s and 90s. He was another sort of macho, tough guy, hero. And one of the great things that I enjoyed in Mike Barron's writing and Chuck Dixon's, who my understanding is now you're working with there on the series, which I'm glad to hear, is that they were, as Mr. Dixon likes to say, logistics people, the creators, like Barron and Chuck Dixon, which is to say that they were very technical in their writing. And that's certainly what I like to do in Here Comes Calico. Get in there and don't be afraid to tell a little more with your words. And this is not to say to get long in the tooth here about storytelling. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there are aspects of the story that you can get even deeper into. That's really what I'm saying. So not even more words, in fact less words, but just describe them. Describe the story a bit more, because I think you can do yourself a very good service and the reader by giving that extra additional layer of description, and you're also able to exercise your storytelling techniques in doing that. Okay, so be a logistics guy. So good work, good on you. Thank you for putting this out, and listen, keep it up. Don't fall behind on this. I think you put out number 2 at a very good clips and can keep pumping it out. Hiring Chuck Dixon, I think, was a very good decision. My understanding is he's very excited to get in there. And by the way, the most prolific writer in history. You want to talk about an energetic, prolific writer? Well, there you have it. That's what you do. See, this is what I mean, folks, and this is really more to you creators out there now. This is not to Mr. July, because this is yet another example of how he's teaching you. Here he is. He's not the best writer in the world. He's not claiming to be. This is his first foray into comics. And on issue 2, what does he do? He realizes his shortcomings, both from a skill set, because he's new at this, okay, and 2, from an operations perspective. The bandwidth to do such a big enterprise. He hires one of the most prolific. This is all to say, he's going to get the stories, in a timely fashion. This is the most prolific comic book writer in history, and the way Mr. Dixon operates is he likes to be well ahead of schedule. He's writing stuff for months down the line. So you want to talk about someone who can get a story done. Wow, that's Mr. Dixon. And he can put out, with him, you could certainly rest assured that you're going to get a quality story, and it's going to be done at a fairly good clip. And on top of that, you have a wonderful mentor that you can leverage at your disposal, right? So, wow, what a brilliant decision. And again, creators, stop hating, again, if you disagree with the guy, and start listening and taking notes, because he's making some pretty decent decisions there. Okay, agree with his politics or not? Again, we're indifferent. We're not involved in that stuff, that noise. That's what we call it, is noise. We're involved in comics, okay, in the fight against animal abuse. So all we're doing is scoping out stuff that's going to help us in the comic book thing, so that we can then in turn be aided in our fight against animal abuse. So again, kudos to Mr. July on putting together this thing, because all we're doing is taking the good from it and seeing how we can replicate success. Template success, folks. You see something working out there, and you know it applies to what you're doing. Template success, because success is not easy to achieve, and the more you can template good things, you're going to get good results from them. So that's the video. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and listen, we do have a Kickstarter right now. That's Here Comes Calico issue 7, and that features Hector Gill, the Calico, who gets intel on people who abuse and kill animals and goes after those assholes with extreme, and I mean extreme, justice. All right, so do a search on Kickstarter, and what do? You type in Here Comes Calico, and you'll see Here Comes Calico issue 7. You hit back this project, you hit reward, and the rest is history, folks. Support the campaign. You're going to love it. Our guy beats the living crap out of people who abuse animals. It is rated M for mature, so definitely not for the young ones. But listen, you know what we do better than anybody else. And join us in keep on fighting for animals.